and we are heading towards Ekaterinburg. No, Ekaterinburg. It's about 10:30 in the night, and just now the platform number of my train has come in. The train is still due for another half an hour. Also, there is a beautiful cargo freight behind me which has been standing here for more than 1.5 hours or so. It is a train of the Russian Pochta Russi, and it has come from Moscow and is going to Vladivostok. Okay, so my carriage is in the front right there. I'm in the third carriage. So it's the fourth compartment from the engine. Weirdly enough, my carriage didn't have the board saying it's the third carriage in it. The second carriage had it. The fourth carriage had it, but the third carriage didn't. Boarded the train. The train is not so bad after all. It is well spacious and laid out well. I think I can, if the train is exactly like this, I can manage it for the next 2 hurdles, which is 2 days and 3 days, which are upcoming. But the point is, my mother already told me today morning when I said to her the train is about to stop in Kazan for 45 minutes. She asked me what if the AC is turned off. She was right. As soon as the train came to the stop and as soon as the TTS or the ticket checkers came out, they switched off the AC because the train is standing here for 45 minutes. That is my seat. So we just pulled into Ekaterinburg station. The train ride was a really pleasant ride. Nothing to complain of. This station is actually quite big because it is the 4th largest city in Russia. So it obviously is one of the biggest stations. This is the first hostel that is actually far from the railway station, but it is actually in the city center. The railway station is far from the city center. Like usually the train stations are supposed to be in the center, but this one is pretty far away. So I'm in Ekaterinburg for about 30 hours. I came inside about 3 o'clock. Tomorrow I'll be leaving about 9 o'clock in the night to Irkutsk. So this is the shortest amount of time I'm actually going to spend in a city during this trip. So let's make the most of it. I'm actually taking a bus to the hostel because the bus station is nearby and I need to walk a lot to the metro station. Also, the buses in here, man, except Moscow, all the cities I have been to till now, the buses are horrible compared to Vladivostok. So just coming out of the hostel is really good. That too, for the price, it is really worth it. So I'm going to explore the city. It's about 5:30. Also, all throughout the train, even in Kazan, I didn't see a lot of Indians in there, even though there are 2 universities which host Indian students for medicine in there, Federal University as well as the State Medical University. I didn't see a lot of Indians over there. In the train, I was the only brown kid in there, and people were very welcoming in there. They helped me through a lot of things which I didn't know about Russian railways and the travel through that. Also in Ekaterinburg, Mostly I'm the only guy in here who is in the darker shade. To be really honest with you, people are confused. What is this guy doing in here? That's the exact reaction of them. Also seeing me with the camera talking to a camera, that's also like stroking them out a bit, confusing them. Let us confuse them. Another one of the important places in here is the city administration office, which was constructed during the Soviet period, and it looks fantastic. Like with the golden hour now starting to shine, golden hour is at 9 o'clock in here. So with the golden hour now starting to shine, the building looks amazing. Behind me is Passage Mall. That's going to be our last stop for tonight. I'm gonna buy some dinner, some things for breakfast, and I'm gonna end the day. So thank you for coming out with me tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. It is day number 2 here in Ekaterinburg. Oh my god, for the first time I have said that right in the first try. Anyway, it's a new day, and to be honest, it is one of the most pleasant days I have really had in over the past 7 days I have been traveling. Today, we are going to start the tour by following the red line on the streets. Yes, here in Ekaterinburg there is a tour called as Red Line Tour. It's a walking tour which you can take. You can see besides me there is a red line in the middle of the road. It is not a divider or something. It is a line which you need to follow. It takes you places like 35 odd places in Ekaterinburg. So it starts at one place, so that's where we started, and you can actually end up in the same place when you end the tour. So that's the speciality of it. It goes around about 5 to 6 kilometers. It takes you about 4 to 5 hours to complete it in one stretch. So I have been staying in this street which is called as Drobolubova. Which literally, when we divide it and translate, when we split it and translate, it says kind and love in just one word. Both are meaning the same, but yeah, that's how they named it. We have officially started the Red Line tour. The first place was Dom Karabov's, which were 2 identical buildings which were reconstructed in the later years to look different. Now we are near the Lenin's monument. This I think you can find almost in all the cities. There will be a Leninsky Prospect, and there will be one statue of Lenin in there. So we have officially come across the first place in the Red Line tours. Also, when you are getting an architectural tour of any city in Russia, please note all the statues or the things which are denoted in every administrative building. Like on top of this, you can see 3 men or 3 people. One who is holding the sickle, one is holding the hammer, and one who is raising the stakes of the people's health and people's well-being. So there are 3 statues on top. There is a star that is always on top of the administrative buildings. So these are all the things to note whenever you're traveling in Russia and you're observing the architecture in here. And all those 3 things opposite to a Lenin statue, it is just so depictive of Lenin's ideology and what he stood for and what he founded. The 4th place on our list is the embankment that we passed through yesterday. It is called the Rabochny Молодежь. That means working youths. It is dedicated to the working youths. It's an artificial embankment which spreads around 2 to 2.5 kilometers on the outside walks. Also, the entire embankment consists of buildings of people of big names like the big miners, gold miners, the people who constructed the entire city. Also, it has the Secretary Office of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, which was founded after the orders of then Secretary Boris Yeltsin, who happened to become the first president of the Russian Federation. So that was the statue of Alexander Popov, who was the Russian physicist who invented a radio receiver. So this is a statue which has him near the radio listening to it. So up next on our list is the Church on the Blood, which is right besides me, which is one of the most famous places to visit in Ekaterinburg, because in 1918 this was the house which stood at that point of time, which was chosen to assassinate Nikolai II and his entire family. So this church was built on top of, built to commemorate all the blood that was spilled in order for this city to survive. Also in Russia, it is actually believed so that the churches can be the only architectural structure that can have gold on top of it, because they want God to directly look onto that rather than anywhere else. So only churches you can happen to find gold in their ceilings all throughout Russia. That's the City History Museum. It also served as a guest house for rich people who used to travel through the Trans-Siberian Highway. So this is actually located on the Trans-Siberian Highway. If the new highways hadn't been constructed, this is the way you have to go from Moscow to the Far East. So this will be a house that people will stay when they travel through this route. It used to belong to a postmaster. Now it serves as a history museum. Behind me is the Ural State University, which is named after A.M. Gorky. So that building was constructed at the Soviet period when communal living was a big thing. So all the flats had common kitchens, common dining rooms, etc. to promote communal living. From the top, that building also looks like a sickle and a hammer. With that, we are here at the Beatles monument, right over there. In the evening times, there are a lot of bands coming here and performing songs of the band Beatles and a lot of the other bands which came out during that period. Being in Russia for all these years, I have heard these people listening to classic English music songs. One of their favorite bands is Beatles. The other one is Queen. They also listen to a lot of hard rock like Metallica, etc. So with that, we actually come to the end of the Red Line tour, which you can actually see behind me. So as I told you before, I thought I would end the tour of Ekaterinburg there and start preparing for my next train to Irkutsk. But how do I go through any city of Russia and not visit the War Memorial or the victory parks in there? This city doesn't have a huge park publicity like the last two cities before, but it has a war memorial for the fallen soldiers of Afghanistan and a couple of other wars. So we are going to the Soviet Army Square, where there is a park called as Chorny Tulpan, which translates to black tulips, which is poetry in Russian, depicting the soldiers who fought in those wars. This sculpture is actually made to resemble the cargo aircraft that transported the bodies of the soldiers who have fallen victim. So now that's the perfect way to end a tour of Ekaterinburg.